Yo, it's your boy YoungMully. Now check this shit out, gang. This video is a childhood story of none other than N'Golo Kante. Kante is regarded as one of the best defensive midfielders in the last 5 years, if not the best defensive midfielder. But this homie had a unique journey to the top, a journey different than many others. Now, Kante's parents migrated to France in 1980s and were originally actually from Mali. N'Golo was born in Paris in 1991, where he grew up in a small apartment in Rueil Maisons Hautes des Siennes. Man, I don't know how to pronounce that shit, but y'all can look it up, man. And young N'Golo is named after the king N'Golo Diarra of the Bamana Empire. Now, early on, Kante knew the value of hard work because he saw that it's the only way he could achieve something. He was the eldest amongst his 3 other siblings, and he was nicknamed Angie. And early, man, as a youngin, he worked as a trash garbage picker. Yeah, y'all heard that shit right, man. He was going around picking garbage out here to get paid, while his mom worked as a cleaner in order to feed the family. Now, life as a scavenger, Kante would walk for kilometers, collecting wastes and then selling to recycling companies. But in 1998, his life would change forever, man. Y'all already know what went down in 1998, man. France wins their first World Cup, and that year, Kante prospered financially by collecting all trash dropped by football fans and tourists that popped up to see the games. Now, that year during the World Cup, when Kante was strolling by the cafes and the motherfucking bars, he got familiarized with the names of African migrants who helped France win their first ever World Cup. Names such as Nicolas Anelka, Zinedine Zidane, Patrick Vieira, Thuram, and Thierry Henry. And this showed Kante a different light. There's a different way to make this shit. There's a different way to make more money out here. And as a matter of fact, the 1998 World Cup was a turning point for France and the overall immigrant participation in football. Academies started popping out all over the place, and Kante joined his first team, JS Touresnes, at the age of 8. Upon registration, Kante was immediately tagged by his teammates as the most focused and the smallest player in the team. Kante assistant manager looking back said, Kante remained outside the radar of the big teams because of his small stature appearance. Back then he would perform tackles all day, take the ball from one end of the pitch and he would carry it to the other length of the field. That was his private training routine taught by no one. Now, after joining up his team, 3 years later tragedy strikes. His father dies shortly after N'Golo's 11th birthday, and this was a difficult time for the Kante family. And Kante doesn't use this tragedy to redraw back to his shell, nor even get into the victim mentality, but he uses this shit as a driving fuel for his ambition to make it as a footballer. And to make shit even worse, it was during this time he was rejected by the Clairefontaine Academy. But Kante at this point never gave up. His humble beginnings gave Kante humility and determination that can't even be seen later when he grew up. One of Kante's old friends, Francois Lemois, said, Kante was 3 years younger than us, yet he was already playing with us. One day we were playing against a local team and he came on 10 minutes from the end. He was smaller than everyone, yet no one could get past him. At the end of the match we went into the changing room. I looked at one of my teammates and said to him, look, he's smaller than us and in 10 minutes he has shown us how to do it. It was a real lesson in humility. Now, as a youngin, you can see pictures and shit of Kante being left out from celebrations and shit because he was known to be shy. And as a matter of fact, actually, when France won the World Cup in 2018, he was the last one to take a picture with the cup, man. But I'm gonna get back to it later, man. Anyways, by the age of 19, Kante was yet to play a professional match. But again, his determination never wavered. His youth coach Voktina once recalled, back then Kante was the one player who would listen and do absolutely everything asked of him. Literally everything. I once joked with Kante before a holiday. I told N'Golo, I'm giving you 2 months to juggle the ball. 50 times with your left foot, 50 times with your right foot, and 50 times with your head. 2 months later he did it. I was shocked. From this moment I never told him what to do. I left him for nature to decide his case. Now, in 2010, Touresnes president, who was one of Wenger's best friends, personally recommended Arsenal to sign Kante. And once again, man, Kante was rejected as Arsenal manager Arsene Wenger passed on the offer of signing Kante. Kante was getting rejected left and right by all the teams. He's 19 years old, yet to play a professional game. He's still with his youth team that he started with 11 years ago. Now, this didn't discourage the president though. because he could see Kante wasn't going to stop. Therefore, he personally drove him around to visit different clubs and telling motherfuckers this is the real deal. And finally, that determination was rewarded. Kante was accepted and joined the reserve team of Bologna and made his professional debut on the last game of the League 2 season on 18th May 2012, a 1-2 home defeat to Monaco for his already relegated team at the age of 21. In that game, he played only the final 11 minutes. Is there anybody listening to this shit in their early 20s aspiring to be a football player? Just check this shit out, man. As Daddy-O says, who is by the way Will Smith's late father, luck is when preparations meet opportunity. And best believe, Kante was preparing for this moment his whole life. The following season, in the year 2012-2013 season, Kante played in the Championnat National, aka the 3rd division of Farmers League, aka that French Uber Eats League. And that season, man, he just missed one game the whole season. The following year, at the age of 22, Caen from League 2 came calling and Kante upgraded. That year he played 38 games, missing no game at all, and he helped Caen to 3rd place and helping them getting promoted to League 1. Finally, as a 24-year-old, he made it to League 1, and that year he played 37 games, helping Caen to remain in the French League top flight, having recovered the ball more times than anybody else in that league. Having played no professional game before the age of 21, Kante went from Championnat National, the 3rd division of the French League, to the 1st league, French League 1, in the space of 3 years. But the motherfucker was just getting warmed up. That summer of 2015, Leicester came calling, and they bought Kante for £8 million. That year, Leicester had just avoided relegation by the nearest of margins. And Kante pulled up to England and the Premier League, and he continued where he left off. Immediately after joining Leicester, he made an instant impact. That year, Kante managed 175 tackles, 31 more than any other player, and 157 interceptions, 18 more than any other player. And he helped Leicester to a legendary and historic Premier League title. And alongside Riyad Mahrez, Kante was one of the best players in that team. Without him in that team, this shit wouldn't have been possible at all. And he was of course in the Premier League team of the season. And in just the space of 4 years, he went from the 3rd division in France to being a Premier League champion with motherfucking Leicester. Sir Alex Ferguson said that year Kante is the best player in the Premier League. And following that historic year with Leicester, he joined Chelsea in the summer of 2016. And actually, Arsenal allegedly backed out of the deal due to the agent fees involved, which totaled more than $10 million, instead opting to sign Granit Xhaka. Some things I guess will never change, man. But anyways, in Chelsea, yet again N'Golo Kante helped the Blues to a Premier League title in his first season and was voted as the 6th best player in the world by L'Equipe. Y'all know the rest is history. Champions League winner, being ranked number 5 in the Ballon d'Or rankings, being Chelsea's highest paid player. From a scavenger, waste-picking ass life, to a back-to-back man of the match in the knockout Champions League games, as Chelsea went to win the Champions League of 2021. And especially if you remember one of them games against Real Madrid, man, he was running rings around Modric and Kroos. That's the first time we felt this midfield was old. Now, regarding his international career, as usual, man, Kante doesn't get his plaudits right away. Kante, until 2016, had never represented France at any age group, and therefore when Mali was asking him to represent them, he was torn between the two nations. However, when he got called by France for the first time in 2016, after winning the Premier League with Leicester, he joined them and he chose France. And he played actually 4 games of the Euros when France reached the final against Portugal when they lost. But even though he played 4 times during the competition, he was an unused substitute in the final game when Eder scored the winning goal. But Deschamps, man, he wouldn't do the same mistake again. 2 years later in 2018, as France was getting prepared for the World Cup, tragedy strikes yet again, as N'Yama Kante, who is the brother of N'Golo Kante, died of a heart attack right before the World Cup of 2018. Kante, despite these heavy loss, he pulled up to the World Cup. He played in all the 7 games for France as they won their 2nd World Cup in their history, and thus emulating all the stars that aspired him to start his journey 20 years ago. And during that whole tournament was going on, you couldn't even tell Kante was grieving. And like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, Kante's innocence and humility was again reflected when he became the last player to take a photo with the World Cup trophy, man. And there was even a story of Kante when he first arrived at Leicester. The coaches had to beg him like, yo, stop running to training, stop using your scooter, buy a whip. And as his first whip, man, Kante bought a Mini Cooper so he could drive it to trainings at Leicester. And if anything, man, if there's something we can learn from Kante's story, is the fact, man, determination and humility in life can get you really far, you feel me? And even though in the beginning of his journey Kante was rejected by many different academies, Arsenal included on top of this shit, he never gave up. Even when he was watching his teammates getting signed, getting onto bigger teams, he never let go from his grind. Even when he hasn't played a single game by the age of 21, he still didn't stop grinding, man. He kept on preparing for that moment the opportunity comes. And when the opportunity came, bro, he took it with both hands. So for y'all kids still aspiring to be professionals, look at Kante, man. This, by the way, doesn't just apply to football. It can literally be applied to anything else. Y'all really know what it is, man. Anyhow, gang, this is the story of N'Golo Kante and how he made it to the top. Humility, hard work, and determination. It's your boy YoungMully. Like, subscribe. It's lit.
Congratulations. How much does it?
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you.
Hi, hello.
Congratulations, first of all.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone, and have a good night.